Hey everyone, so we finally made it to the spooky season. I hope all of you had buckets of fun. I know I did. Anyway, today we're going to be taking a look at Fire Force, more specifically my thoughts on the series thus far. And I won't be getting into any spoilers just because I know there are still a lot of people who haven't read Fire Force and want to know if it's any good. Does it live up to Atsushi Okubo's previous work, Soul Eater? Which, if you didn't know, is one of my favorite series. I absolutely love Soul Eater, so I was very excited to read Fire Force. So in the world of Fire Force, there's a mysterious phenomenon going on where people are spontaneously combusting into flames. Now, when this happens, they don't die, they become monsters known as Infernals, they wreak havoc on everything, and they need to be put down. And that is the job of the Fire Force, a division with multiple different companies made up of multiple different fire soldiers. There are three types of fire soldiers. You got the first generations, who are just, normal people, normal firefighters who joined the Fire Force. You have second generation soldiers, who are people who can manipulate flames. Then you have the third generation fire soldiers, who can actually create and manipulate their own flames. But you see, the Fire Force wasn't only created to fight the Infernals, it was also created to investigate them and figure out why this is happening to the world, why people are spontaneously combusting into flames. So the story begins with our protagonist Shinra joining the 8th company of the Fire Force. Now, Shinra joins the Fire Force because he wants to be a hero, he wants to make an impact on society, but he also wants to learn the truth about an event that happened 12 years ago that took the lives of his mother and brother. The event was blamed on him not being able to control his third generation fire abilities, but he knows something else was up. And he quickly learns that there's a whole lot of sketch going on with this Fire Force. Luckily though, he came to the right place, because it turns out that the 8th company of the Fire Force, not only is their goal, like the other companies, to take out Infernals and investigate them, but it is also to investigate the other companies of the Fire Force to make sure that, what they're doing is legal. And nothing's set in stone. All their suspicions are basically based off of hunches, but shown in battle manga. Let's fucking go. Now, first off, I will say I wasn't a huge fan of the first volume of this series. I don't think it worked that well getting me invested into the world like a good first volume should. They sort of just throw everything on you. Shinra immediately joins the Fire Force with all these different characters that we don't have time to meet before we're just thrown into the plot. But I am pretty happy to say that by the second volume, the quality of the series really picks up and ends up becoming extremely enjoyable. It is worth mentioning though that I've only read the first 6 volumes, all that's out in English. I think I'm just gonna, stick to reading this one by the volume as they come out. Yeah, what I really enjoy about the story so far is that it is a mystery series. There's all this sketchy stuff going on. We have no idea who's causing it, who's behind it. Do they have ties to the Fire Force? Are there, double agents inside the Fire Force? There's also the mystery of the Infernals. Why the crap are people catching fire? The series does a really good job of keeping us interested in this mystery. It slowly gives us new information every volume. It makes things more interesting, and it makes you excited to read more. Much like Soul Eater, this series doesn't seem like it's going to be having any major story arcs. It feels more like, just one long story. And I'm sure that if things continue the way that they do, this really has the potential to live up to Soul Eater. And on the topic of Soul Eater, which had excellent characters, I really feel like he's also hitting the nail on the head for Fire Force. Now, the characters aren't as instantly iconic as they were in Soul Eater. I honestly don't think he'll ever be able to beat characters like, Death the Kid, Black Star. But I really feel like with this cast of characters, he's setting up the groundwork for some great potential relationships, some great potential character development, some of which we've already gotten to see, and it's all been pretty great. Though, like I said, I did mention that the first volume of the series sort of just introduces all of them all at once. How in Soul Eater, pretty much everyone got their own introduction chapter before the plot started, so once the plot started and we were thrown into it, we already knew who everyone was. This isn't the case here, so it takes a little while for the characters to grow on you. But once we get some time to learn more about them, see their interactions with each other, I honestly really like these characters. And you see, with most shonen battle manga, Soul Eater included, a lot of the main characters are either, teenagers or children, but here, they're mostly all adults. I mean, Shinra, he's like 17 or whatever. But, a lot of these guys are pretty mature, they got their shit together, and this helps it do a good job of avoiding some of the cliches of the genre. We have Arthur, who's sort of a rival to Shinra. They went to their fire school together or whatever, and they're always butting heads. But, when shit hits the fan, they're done fucking around. Man, shit can and will hit the fan. The action scenes here are pretty excellent. Atsushi Okubo, he went from doing a monthly series with Soul Eater to a weekly series, and honestly, I really don't see any dip in quality of his art. It still looks excellent. The fire he draws looks really great. I'm really hoping that if one day this gets an anime, it will be given to a really good studio who can do the fight scenes justice. There's always stakes too. You're always fearing for the characters. You never know when someone's gonna die, because Okubo, much like Soul Eater, he doesn't fuck around. He has no problem killing people. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the first 6 volumes of Fire Force. And if you couldn't tell by the video already, I highly recommend this series, especially if you are a fan of Soul Eater. It's not as crazy as Soul Eater, and it has yet to match the quality of Soul Eater, but I really feel like this series is something special, and it definitely has the potential to become an excellent story. So with that, I hope this was an informative video. If you were interested in checking out Fire Force for yourself, thank you all so much for watching. You can leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.